I am a veteran judge in the fashion industry. This time I was asked to be a judge for a fashion design competition. Last time, my cousin made me vote for Isabella. I voted for Isabella, who was an ordinary designer. The talented Sophia missed out on the title, but Isabella took advantage of the situation to rise to the top. The talented Sophia missed out on the title, but Isabella took advantage of the situation. And then, cousin and Isabella teamed up to take away my design studio. She teamed up with Isabella to drive me to the brink of extinction. I realized that all these were their carefully designed traps. I opened my eyes. I saw Sophia staring at the drawings in the design studio. My heart was full of apologies. I secretly resolved, in this life, I must make this rising star of the design world shine. Unexpectedly, she suddenly stopped me in the studio, asked, "Is it that whoever sleeps with you, whoever gets the title? This time I choose Isabella." After I announced my choice, the audience immediately sounded a gasp of surprise. No one expected that Sophia, who has always been the favorite to win the championship, would unexpectedly lose to her. Sophia, who has always been the favorite to win the championship, would unexpectedly lose to Isabella, who is a little less powerful. Thanks to my crucial vote, Isabella excitedly waved to her fans on stage. She happily raised her trophy. On the other side, Sophia didn't expect to lose to Isabella. She froze in place, surprised. Isabella held the trophy, with a sneer on her face under everyone's gaze. She nonchalantly pushed Sophia away with her shoulder. Said, "HMPH, your design is just like that." Said, she twisted her waist. She walked to the center of the stage at the director's gesture. "Why?" Sophia stood in front of me, looking straight at me, with a hint of hurt in her eyes. "Why did you vote for her? Is her design better than mine?" Sophia's fans offstage have long had a stomach full of fire about the outcome of the competition. Sophia questioned me on the spot. Everyone followed suit. They wanted me to give an explanation. I remembered the so-called evidence of Sophia's plagiarism that cousin showed me before the final. So I blurted out, "The winner doesn't just have to have design talent, you also have to have a good character." As soon as I finished speaking, the whole scene exploded. But Sophia looked like she had lost her soul. Her eyes instantly became empty and lifeless. Seeing her like this, the fans who spoke for her before also didn't say anything. I'm even more sure that she has character problems. After that, Isabella sailed through the ranks as a champion, became a rising star in the fashion world. Sophia was slowly forgotten by everyone. No news in the design circle. I thought this would be the end of the story. I never thought that one day, Cousin Lucas used Isabella's excuse to thank me. He tricked me into going to an abandoned factory. After that, the two of them teamed up to deal me a merciless blow, making me lose everything when I was cornered. Cousin grabbed me tightly by the collar. His eyes were filled with the joy of victory. He said, "Cousin, I can't thank you enough. You made Isabella the champion. You've been in the design world all these years and you've enjoyed it long enough. You've enjoyed it long enough. Next, let me, your cousin, enjoy all this for you, your resources and connections. I will take over properly." The sudden despair left me powerless to resist. I struggled desperately, but couldn't change those two's mind. Under Isabella and cousin's joint suppression, I eventually lost everything. I fell into the lowest valley of my life. But the darkness didn't last long. The noise of the sewing machine came into my ears. I gasped for breath, surprised to find myself back in a familiar place. This was the backstage of that costume design competition. I was actually reborn. Isabella's design on stage was ordinary, but it was posed as if it was marvelous. And there's Lucas sitting in the first row applauding for her. This time I definitely won't let them get what they want. For Sophia, I will do my best. I'll give her back all the honor that belongs to her. When I was born again, just in time for an important design competition within the company. It's at the critical stage of the 8-4 competition. After several senior executives cast their votes, the eyes of everyone in the conference room focused on me. All of a sudden, Isabella on the stage revealed a smug smile. It seems as if she has already secured the victory. Sophia lowered her head, letting people not be able to guess her thoughts. "In my last life, because of cousin's instigation. I had a prejudice against Sophia from that point on. After that, I never helped her again, thinking about it. I hate myself for being so stupid. I almost ruined someone's career for personal gain. I took a deep breath, firmly and forcefully said, I voted for Sophia. The conference room immediately erupted in applause. Isabella's smile on the stage froze for a moment. Sophia finished listening to my words, suddenly raised her head. Her eyes were full of surprise. There were also some complex emotions that I couldn't understand. Because of this vote I cast, Sophia successfully advanced to the quarterfinals with a first-place finish. Isabella didn't get my support though, but still barely advanced. Once the meeting was over, I had wanted to go to Sophia first, even if she didn't know about her past life. I still felt bad about it, but I just walked to the company's pantry. Cousin Jacob appeared. He seemed to have waited for a long time. As soon as he saw me, he stopped me right away. He said with a questioning tone, "Cousin, what's wrong with you? Didn't I tell you that Sophia's character is not good? Why did you still vote for her?" Looking at Jacob's angry face, I'm a bit confused. I still don't know why he hates me so much. I still can't figure out why he hates me so much. At the critical moment, he also colluded with Isabella, kicked me out of the company when I was a child. My parents died in an accident in order to pay for Jacob's education. I worked hard. It was hard to get my footing in the company. I thought I was good enough for him, but I didn't expect it would end up so badly. Her character is good or bad. What does it have to do with whether her designs are good or not? This is a design competition. I only care about the design itself. Jacob was surprised by my change in attitude. He opened his eyes wide in surprise and said, "You've been studying for nothing all these years. Where's your work ethic? Where is your work ethic? Our parents always taught us to be honorable people. If you still help Sophia in the next selection, I will no longer recognize you as a cousin. I'll never recognize you as a cousin again." He left angrily. Before, I always obeyed this cousin. Every time he was angry, I would try to make him happy. Jacob thought I would chase him out to comfort him like I used to. But now, I'm completely disappointed in him. I didn't forget the purpose of coming to the pantry. With the memory of my past life, go straight to the staff lounge area. During the design selection period, everyone is working overtime in the rest area on the temporary built simple workstations. I just walked to the door of the rest area. I heard a lot of noise inside. "Sophia, what are you pretending to be? What are you pretending to be? Who are you showing it to? Don't think you're so great just because you won first place this time. You'll suffer later." In the rest area, Isabella is followed by two colleagues. These two people's business level is similar to Isabella's. They have formed a small team with her since the beginning of the project. Now look, they became Isabella's loyal companions. Sophia is carrying a bruise on the corner of her mouth, shirt splashed with coffee by Isabella. It's soaked through. Isabella says, "I'm curious. What did you use to make manager Wang support you every time? Did you give him any favors?" "You shut up." Sophia, who hadn't said anything, as soon as she heard my name, suddenly she got angry. She suddenly stood up. She grabbed Isabella's collar. Her eyes were full of anger. "Don't go too far." I didn't realize Isabella wasn't scared at all. He gave a wink to the other two. One of them immediately took out his cell phone. Isabella sneered, "Come on, hit me if you can. I'll see if you're still in the company after this video goes out. Can you still be in the company?" That's what I realized. The video Jacob showed me of Sophia bullying her coworkers. So that's how it came about. It's just a case of right and wrong. Sophia is so angry that her whole body is shaking. Isabella proudly reaches out and slaps her face. "Isabella, you're just a useless person." "Isabella, what a useless person." I step out from behind the door, holding the cell phone that was recording in my hand, said coldly, "Your office area is really lively." Seeing me suddenly appear, Isabella, who was still high and mighty just now, his face instantly turned white. He panicked and took a few steps back. Stammering, "Wang, manager Wang, what are you doing here?" I slowly scan the room. The tone is slightly mocking. "Can't I come?" Isabella and her two companions immediately shook their heads vigorously. They're worried that I'll notice that they're bullying Sophia. They look nervously at the cell phone in my hand. I calmly put the phone away. calmly said, "I'm here to see Sophia. Is there anything else for you guys? Isabella can't wait to get out of this trouble spot." The moment she brushes past me, I reached out and stopped her. "Manager, what are your instructions? Leave your cell phone. Company rules state that you can't use personal electronic devices for personal matters during office hours." They knew they were in violation. They don't dare to say more, silently handed over their cell phones, and then hurriedly left. When Sophia and I were left alone in the room, but she twisted her face to the side, neither complained to me, neither looking for my help, because what happened in my last life made me feel bad in my heart. This time, I decided to help her no matter what. I walked over to Sophia, gently cupped her chin. The bruise at the corner of her mouth was clearly visible. Sophia obviously didn't expect me to do this. A flash of panic flashed in her eyes. After a while, her ears were slightly red, breaking away from my hand. Said in a somewhat hurried voice, "Manager Wang, what are you looking for me for?" Her resistant attitude puzzled me. In the previous life, she always spoke to me respectfully. Even if the design selection was rejected by me, she would just accept it silently, and then turned away. I didn't say anything, just took out iodopher from the first aid kit in the office area. Gently lifted her chin again. The iodine vapors touched the wound. Sophia sucked in her breath in pain, but didn't duck away. Let me continue to deal with it. After applying the medicine, she asked in a hoarse voice, "What the hell do you want?" I stopped packing the first aid kit, looking up at her firmly. "I want you to take this design. The injury on Sophia's face hasn't healed yet. In order to make her design display more colorful, I contacted the image design team beforehand, carefully telling them how to create the right dress and image for Sophia on the day of the presentation. This time, Isabella won't be able to stop Sophia from succeeding." Jacob gambled and ran out, hanging out for a few days. Seeing that I never contacted him, he quietly returned to the company. Upon seeing him, I immediately remembered what happened in my last life. The scene where he drove me out of the company with Isabella. It filled my heart with anger and resentment. I really couldn't give him a good look. But Jacob thought I was mad at him for leaving the office without permission. He smiled and approached me. He put on an aggrieved look and said, "I was wrong last time. I shouldn't have argued with you. I should not have quarreled with you and left without a word. Don't be angry with me." Seeing that I did not say anything, Jacob continued, "Mom and Dad died early. We are the closest people in the world. How can you really be angry with me?" Looking at Jacob, he said that we are the closest relatives. I felt particularly ironic. I was really blind in my last life. I didn't realize his true colors. Now that I think about it, every time he shows his weakness to me, he was actually asking me for something. I tried to control my emotions, reached out and patted his shoulder, said, "Cousin is not angry with you. Just next time don't be so capricious. Don't leave without saying a word." Seeing my attitude soften, Jacob immediately smiled, and for the first time, he said he wanted to invite me to the restaurant next to the company for dinner. I saw him running around in the restaurant. I understood. Things are definitely not simple. Sure enough, during the meal, Jacob was giving me food. He said carefully, "Cousin, we're on such good terms. How can you be angry with me? I'm still waiting for you to introduce me to the person in charge of design this time. I've worked hard in the company over the years. I've accumulated a lot of connections and resources. Jacob relies on my connections. He also joined the company, but a few years down the line, his performance has been average, not much progress." When he mentioned the head of design, I remembered the past, looking at Jacob with an expectant face. I put down my chopsticks, smiled and agreed. Seeing me so quick, Jacob almost jumped for joy. He kept pouring me wine back home. I turned on my cell phone, checked the recording device that I secretly installed in Jacob's office earlier. Jacob is not in the office these days. I always feel that he and Isabella are secretly planning something. It's amazing that he fell for it so easily. He agreed to me so quickly. He's really stupid. How can he be so good in the company, this time when I'm on my feet? I'm going to crush him. As for Sophia, don't worry. I will definitely find a way to get him out. Jacob spoke on the phone. Jacob spoke on the phone with pride and determination in his voice. As long as he can't interfere with the key design part, I will definitely get the results of this design. When I get promoted with this, I won't treat you badly. Jacob was sure of his plan. Hearing what he said on the phone, I really felt, I don't know anything about this cousin at this time. Isabella's voice came from the other end of the phone. Good. As long as you handle Sophia, benefits will not be spared. That person does not have the courage of his convictions. He dared to sign a betting agreement with the company. I'd like to see him fail to complete the task. How can he pay back the $3 million? This sentence is like a thunderbolt. I've never heard of any betting agreement in my last life. Not to mention that Sophia was under so much pressure. Dusty memories came flooding back. I recalled Sophia before he left the company. He had been in deep trouble, running around looking for resources, but always hit a wall. No wonder after that design selection, her life in the company is getting worse and worse. So it's because of the $3 million debt that she can't breathe. It's all because I made a mistake in judgment. I clenched my fist. I must not drag Sophia into trouble this time. The design competition reached the semifinals. The company arranged to report online and offline at the same time. On the day of the competition, I rushed to Sophia's seat before the start. With a serious face, I reminded him, "Watch out for Isabella and Jacob. They will make trouble. Be careful." I thought Sophia would be fine if she was prepared, but I underestimated Isabella and Jacob. Isabella is the second to last to hand in her design. The host hurriedly reminds Sophia to get ready for the stage. Half a minute has passed. Sophia hasn't shown up yet. The audience under the stage began to whisper, discussing with each other. The host shouted a few more times, but Sophia still didn't show up. I think Sophia just doesn't have a clue in her heart. She was able to pass before. It was totally by luck. This time it's a live broadcast. She's probably worried about her real ability being seen. That's why she doesn't dare to go on stage. Isabella sneered, said in a sharp tone. The people in the live broadcast room didn't understand the situation. They were all led by Isabella's nose. They began to complain. This player had misbehaved at an important moment. He actually made it to the semifinals. There must be an inside story. Who is Sophia? Why is she such a coward? Don't wait. If she doesn't dare to go on stage, she'll be disqualified on the screen of the competition site. The pop-up screens kept scrolling. Isabella saw that the netizens' comments were almost one-sided. Then she confidently took the host's microphone, said to the judges, "Fellow teachers, you all have seen what the audience thinks. Since Sophia doesn't dare to go on stage, then it should be counted as her abstention. Eliminate her directly. Don't waste everyone's time here." I frowned, feeling that things are not good. I suddenly see cousin Jacob walk into the audience from outside, quietly making an okay sign to Isabella. Then, Jacob stood up all of a sudden, waving his hand vigorously and yelling, "Out, out, out," under his influence. The audience followed suit. The scene is getting more and more chaotic. Just when the directing team was planning to eliminate Sophia according to everyone's opinion, I heavily tapped the table. "Wait a minute, can't let her out." Isabella saw me coming to stop her again. Dissatisfaction appeared in her eyes, coldly smiled. "Judge Wang, how come it's always you? You're also too biased towards Sophia." Her words were obviously saying that there was a problem between Sophia and me, trying to use everyone's mouth to deal with me. It seems everyone only looks at the surface. A lot of comments speculating about my relationship with Sophia immediately popped up on the pop-up screen. I gritted my teeth, thinking to myself that now is not the time to argue with Isabella. Just say, "I just don't want talented designers to be buried. Here's the deal. Give me 15 minutes. If Sophia is not on stage in 15 minutes, I'll agree to disqualify her." I said that. The director's team couldn't say anything else. I hurriedly followed the direction Jacob came in. I quickly ran to the backstage. As soon as I arrived backstage, I felt something was wrong. Today the backstage is dark. It seems like there's a power outage. I turned on my cell phone's flashlight. I tried to call out, "Sophia," in the darkness. In the darkness, I heard a low cry. My heart tightened. I followed the voice to the door of a locked locker room. "Sophia, are you there, Sophia?" A voice came from the locker room. I knocked on the door as hard as I could. I knocked as hard as I could, but it was no use. It's almost time. I'm in a hurry. Suddenly, I noticed a useless iron bar on the floor. I gave up. I grabbed the iron bar. I smashed it directly into the door lock. There was a sharp pain in my hand. I sucked in my breath in pain, but the door lock started to loosen. I didn't stop, continuing to slam it a dozen times. Just when I was running out of strength, the door was smashed open. I put down the iron bar with a flashlight. Immediately saw Sophia cowering on the floor holding her knees. Her makeup today is broken style. Now with the way she's shivering, it looks especially pitiful. I squatted down in front of her, gently extend my hand. Unexpectedly, she suddenly hugged me tightly. She kept shouting, "Wang Hao, Wang Hao." She hugged me too tightly. I could hardly breathe. I don't know what she went through. I can only pat her back and comfort her. I'm here with my comfort. Sophia stopped shaking. Her mood also calmed down. Seeing that the time is almost up, I asked anxiously, "Can you do it now? The game is about to start." Sophia still hugged me tightly. Softly answered ahem. Luckily, in the last 30 seconds, Sophia finally went on stage. Her design style was poignant and moving, together with the vulnerable expression still on her face. It instantly compared to the works of the previous contestants, netizens who doubted Sophia's ability before. After looking at her design works, they were all deeply impressed. Isabella's expression became ugly. In the end, Sophia successfully entered the final. Isabella also relied on netizen support to successfully advance. "Give me your hand." As soon as the recording of the competition ended, Sophia took advantage of everyone's lack of attention. She quickly pulled me to a quiet corner backstage. "I'm fine. Maybe it's because I've been through too much in my past life. Every time I see Sophia, I always feel a little bit sorry in my heart." Sophia saw that I was not willing to cooperate. Without saying a word, she grabbed my wrist, revealing my bruised palm when I slammed the door. She silently took out a band-aid from her pocket, gently helped me put it on. Even when she heard me huffing and puffing in pain, she didn't stop moving her hands. I was about to complain that she wasn't gentle enough. She suddenly stepped forward, pushing me against the wall, eyes staring straight at me. "Wang Hao, what the hell do you want? Didn't you used to annoy me? I've never bothered you." I hadn't finished speaking. Sophia suddenly came over. She kissed me. I was confused. I didn't know what to do. "Do you think, whoever you have a good relationship with, who can get high scores in the competition, you don't talk nonsense?" Sophia came close to that pretty face again. "Then why didn't you vote for me before? I didn't support you every time." "Wait a minute." I reacted immediately. I quickly reached out my hand to block Sophia, who was about to come closer. "I've always supported you. I've always supported you." I looked at Sophia's smiling but not smiling expression, suddenly realizing that something is not right. No wonder her attitude towards me in this life was so abnormal. It turns out that I'm not the only one who was reborn. You were also reborn. How can you still be counted by Isabella and Jacob? Speaking of which, Sophia scratched her head a little embarrassed. She glanced at me. Her tone was a bit complaining. "It's all Jacob's fault. He asked the staff to lie to me. He told the staff to lie to me, saying that you were waiting for me in the locker room. I stupidly ran over. I didn't realize they knew I had a space phobia." It's the first time I've heard of Sophia's space phobia. The thought that it was because of me, she was in that predicament, and then to see us acting so close now. I feel a bit embarrassed all of a sudden. "Don't use me as an excuse. Maybe you still hate me." Sophia smiled gently. She reached out to help me fix my messy hair. "I won't hate you, Wang Hao. I only like you." Sophia hadn't finished speaking. I was all red in the face when she wasn't looking, quickly pushed her away and fled. My heart was beating too hard. Completely missed a slight click coming from the corner, like someone was taking a sneak peek. I originally thought, as long as the wrong judgment of the last life was changed, Sophia's designer career could have gotten back on track, but I still underestimated Isabella and their tactics. 3 days before the finals started, the assistant hurriedly called me dozens of times early in the morning. He was practically shouting on the phone, "Hurry up and get on Twitter." What could make him so anxious? It must not be a normal thing. I just opened Twitter. Right away, I realized that my name was on the hot search. The headline was Judge Wang and Sophia's love affair was exposed. Judge Wang is secretly operating for his lover. Judge Wang's behavior is a serious violation of professional ethics. All sorts of news of backroom operations kept coming out. A lot of negative news appeared on the hot search. It makes me feel very worried. I seriously brushed Twitter. Finally, I found out the cause of these hot searches. It's like this. After the last semifinal, an unsuspecting person secretly took photos of Sophia and me and deliberately made up some untruths. Now things are getting bigger and bigger. People thought I was trying to backdoor my girlfriend Sophia in the competition, sent her straight to the finals. Result: uninformed netizens scolded me online and scolded me on the hot search. Suddenly, I found an entry in the hot search phrase. Jacob's apology note statement. I clicked in with a question. Jacob hadn't been making much noise in the design circle. This time, however, it was suddenly on the hot search. Click on the hot search. The video played automatically. Jacob in the screen looked a bit tired. He sincerely bowed twice to the screen, then began to speak. Hello everyone. I'm Cousin Jacob from Judge Wang. About today's incident of cousin being on the hot spot, I am here to sincerely apologize to everyone. Although the content of the hot search is true, but I don't have any bad intention. He was just in love at the time. That's why I did those unfair actions. Please forgive my cousin this time. In fact, I have already warned him, but Sophia must have lured my cousin to do something wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, please give my cousin another chance. He is actually very simple. If you must blame him, then blame me in the video. Jacob cries and puts the blame on himself. It's nothing like my hot comments. His Twitter feed is full of sympathetic messages below. It's so sad for the younger brother. How can you have a cousin like that? Don't admit fault for him. Don't apologize for him. I think it must be Judge Wang who forced him to come out and apologize for himself. He's so bad. I'm looking at these comments. I think it's ridiculous. I haven't even responded to these unfounded words. He made me a criminal first. After this incident, Jacob's Twitter followers skyrocketed. Many netizens thought he was not easy and also gave him the nickname of National Good Brother. In order to seize this opportunity, Jacob began to do live broadcast. When live broadcasting, he said on his lips that I was good to him, but his face showed a scared expression. Careful netizens saw bruises on his arms. They suspected that I was taking revenge on him, but every time someone asked about it, Jacob just reddened his eyes, shaking his head with tears in his eyes. He kept emphasizing over and over that I was good to him, but his look of hiding it. Instead, it made the netizens even more convinced that they had discovered the truth. Result: my Twitter private messages were instantly drowned out by countless curses. The business cooperation and job offers I had negotiated went down the drain one after another. In contrast, Jacob relied on this wave of heat. Jacob's status is rising. If it wasn't for the fact that the competition is about to start, if it wasn't for the fact that the competition was about to start and the show couldn't find a replacement for me, I might not even be able to keep my job. I might not even be able to keep my job for the sake of the program's popularity until the day of the competition. I didn't realize Jacob used to rely on me to show up in the audience. Now he's actually the special guest of the design competition. The finals are still broadcasted live because contestants can't bring cell phones during training. So Sophia has no idea what's going on out there. She saw me, immediately gave me a bright smile. I didn't expect this smile. It made the netizens explode again. The pop-up scrolled rapidly. 9 out of 10 were cursing me. At this time, Sophia realized that the situation was not good. Jacob was in a place that the camera couldn't capture. There was a smug smile on his face. Sophia looked at me worriedly. I gave her a firm look, telling her not to worry. The final was fast-paced. After Isabella and Sophia's design presentations were over, it went into a 20-minute break. The judges needed this time to think who exactly to vote for. In the backstage lounge, Jacob told the others to leave first. Then, with a sarcastic tone, he said, "Cousin, you won't blame me for stealing your judge's thunder. I don't really know anything about design judging, but I can't help it. Recently, because of the public opinion storm, although the program team didn't replace me directly. But in order to ensure the fairness of the voting, they gave my vote to Jacob. I let out a sneer. You haven't acted enough, aren't you tired? Jacob put away his fake smile. He looked around. After confirming that there was no surveillance in the lounge, he finally stopped pretending. I'm so tired. All these years of pretending to be a good cousin in front of you. I couldn't take it anymore. I'm so confused and sad. I can't figure out what I did to offend him. What did I do to offend him that made him so resentful of me? Jacob laughed coldly. His eyes are full of jealousy. Why? I also want to know why. Why are you so famous in the design circle but I'm not? We're cousins. We are cousins. Why am I always inferior to you? I'm not happy about it, just because I admire Sophia. You're working with Isabella to hurt her. I looked at him with disappointment. Right, Jacob admitted it outright. I was the one who locked Sophia in the locker room. I just wanted to ruin what you liked. Since you're rooting for Sophia, I'm going to let Isabella outshine her. I'm going to make you realize that the talent I'm looking at is the best of the best. I'm both shocked and heartbroken. Aren't you afraid that when these things are revealed, are you not afraid that you will be punished? Jacob laughed with particular glee, like he was laughing at me for being too naive. It backfired. My good cousin, you must remember, you're not getting a very good rap right now. I'm on the side of justice now. You know more about the human heart than I do. You don't know as much as I do. Looking at Jacob's smug look, I put away my sadness. I put away the sadness I felt just now. My tone suddenly became cold. Is that so? Jacob frowned. Can't figure out what I'm up to. When he saw me pull out my cell phone from behind the vanity mirror, froze for a moment. What was displayed on the screen of the phone? It was none other than my TikTok live stream. The comments on the live feed had completely changed. Oh my God, what kind of simple little cousin is this? Clearly a person with a heart of gold. I pity him. How can he be so cruel? Not only did he hurt his own cousin, but he also dared to kill the contestants. It's really a shame. Jacob's legs are weak. He was paralyzed on the ground, face pale, unbelievably staring at me. Voice trembling. You actually counted on me. Looking at Jacob lying on the ground with a face of despair, I felt a special pain in my heart. I just used the way he dealt with me. Just give it back to him. As soon as the news of this live broadcast came out, the internet immediately exploded. Isabella originally thought that the championship was secure. I didn't expect that in just 20 minutes. The situation was reversed, except Jacob didn't show up. The other judges all chose Sophia. Isabella couldn't stand it at once. Out of control, she shouted. There's something fishy here. It's all fake. I'm the winner. She can't compete with me. It's all because of Judge Wang. You voted for Sophia. I don't like it. She'll do anything to get what she wants. She doesn't deserve the first place. After the competition started, I've been sitting at the judges' table. I didn't say anything. Seeing Isabella bad-mouthing Sophia even now, I was furious. I walked quickly to the stage. Isabella threatened me through clenched teeth. What's going on? Being talked about by me to the point of pain. Pissed off. Judge Wang, you this person. Pa, I've been wanting to hit you with this for a long time. I shook off my palm, which was red from the force. My heart was finally relieved. You dare to hit me. Are you crazy? Don't touch him. Let go. Isabella rushed towards me in anger, ready to strike. Sophia quickly grabbed her arm, holds her down to the ground. I nodded to Sophia in acknowledgement, then asked the guide to transfer the live feed to my cell phone. At this point, the number of viewers of the live stream skyrocketed. The director couldn't wait for this, immediately instructed the guide to do so. I made sure the camera was focused on the cell phone, then opened a video in the photo album. The video recorded the first time I went backstage to look for Sophia. I happened to see Isabella and her friends bullying Sophia. Careful netizens noticed a bruise on the corner of Sophia's mouth in the video, immediately associated it with the area she covered up with her makeup tricks during the semifinals. Isabella is too much. How dare she bully our Sophia? No wonder he was covering the corner of his mouth. So it was to cover up the wound. Isabella has the nerve to say others have bad character. She and Jacob are just the same. Isabella didn't expect me to take the video. Her face turned pale. All explanations became pale. The program team listened to the netizens, immediately disqualified Isabella from the competition. When I saw Sophia finally get the trophy after such a long time, the big stone in my heart was finally put down, at least this time. She won the honor that belongs to her. Sophia stood on the stage, holding the trophy in her hand, facing the hundreds of thousands of audience under the stage to make a speech. He said, "This is my official acceptance speech." Sophia stopped for a moment, eyes tenderly looking at me, said, "However, I have one more thing to clarify. Judge Wang and I are not in a relationship like everyone rumors. It's me who's been chasing him." As soon as I finished saying this, the audience on stage immediately cheered. The sound was so loud that it shook their ears. There were also audience members whistling excitedly, shouting, "Wow, Sophia, you are great." Sophia confessed her love to me in public that day. It was a hit, but I had the nerve to run away on the spot. This matter has no further details for the time being. Sophia doesn't feel embarrassed. She even frequently asked me out for dinner on WhatsApp. Because of the several reversals that happened one after another in the program, my heat went through the roof all of a sudden. The work schedule was full. Isabella and Jacob, however, have been completely shut down by the design community. Isabella's latest news shows she's back in hometown, working as a stock boy at a grocery store. Looks a little down in the dumps. "Mr. Wang, are you free tomorrow? Let's have dinner together." I stared at the message that popped up on WhatsApp. Couldn't help but smile. The program is over. Don't call me Judge Wang anymore. I'm going to a charity dinner tomorrow. No time. The opposite party immediately sent a reply. It was an aggrieved expression with a crying face. "Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow." Seeing this message, I'm a bit curious. Is Sophia invited to that charity dinner? The agent went through the list several times, finally shook his head and said, "Her name is not on the list. She just started her career less than half a year ago." It was unlikely that she would be invited, although a little disappointed, but I quickly picked myself up, concentrating on the matter at hand. The next day's charity dinner was particularly large. The banquet hall alone was so luxurious that it was astonishing. There were especially many celebrities and business tycoons who came to the banquet. Because I've been very popular lately, many stars wanted to chat with me. There were also directors and producers who came directly to me, asking me if I was interested in doing their movies and TV shows. I just finished dealing with a group of people. I hurriedly found a quiet corner to sit down. I wanted to take a break. I just sat down. A waiter wearing a rabbit mask walked up to me with a tray. This charity dinner was organized to help stray animals. The waitresses at the banquet all wore cute animal masks. She was carrying a tray. There was a cocktail on it. I put my empty glass on the tray, picked up the cocktail in my hand. "Thanks. I was on a tight schedule. I hadn't had time to eat all afternoon." I took a few sips of the cocktail. I had some snacks. My stomach feels better after all. Maybe it was too much wine. It didn't take long. I felt a little dizzy. I waved my hand. The waiter who brought me the cocktail earlier immediately came over and held my arm. "Please take me to the restroom." The waiter didn't say anything. He directly helped me towards the restroom. It was only 2 steps. I felt even more dizzy. I was in a daze, almost entirely relying on the waiter to hold me up. Although my brain was a bit dizzy, but I still realized that the path the waiter took me on wasn't to my room. I felt something was wrong, hurrying to open my eyes with all my might, looking in through the gap in the rabbit mask. This look, I got nervous. I didn't realize it was Jacob. I tensed up instantly. I was instantly nervous. I seized the opportunity before he reacted. I pushed him away. I turned around and ran. "Someone's coming." I wanted to scream, but I was weak. I only took 2 steps. Jacob grabbed me. He covered my mouth tightly, realizing that he was recognized. Jacob no longer covered up. He gritted his teeth. His voice was full of hatred. "Wang Hao, you caused me to be like a street rat that everyone shouts at. I'm going to make your life harder than death. I'll see where you can run today." I whimpered powerlessly. He dragged me into the lounge. There was a middle-aged woman with a bulging belly in a robe inside. She saw me. Her eyes looked up and down wistfully. "Not bad." I like this young man." Jacob immediately restrained his arrogant attitude in front of me. Instead, he lowered his eyebrows to curry favor with the woman. Mr. Zhang smiled and said, "Jacob, I have brought you someone, the role you were promised before," she said while patting Jacob's butt. "Don't worry, that role is definitely yours." Jacob accomplished his goal. Immediately and knowingly, he planned to leave the room. Before leaving, he came to my ear and whispered, "Judge Wang, I wish you an incredibly torturous night." The door to the room closed. Mtks Zhang walked towards me with ill intent. I understood her intentions, screamed out loud in fear, but arms and legs were limp, no strength at all. "It's illegal for you to do this. Aren't you afraid that I will call the police?" Mr. Zhang laughed out loud, completely ignored my threat. "Call the police? Are you clear about my identity?" she shouted. "Which police officer dares to meddle in my business?" Finished speaking, she came straight at me. She reached out and pulled my clothes. "Let go of me, don't be like this, don't do this. Help Sophia." Sophia, when people are especially afraid, one always unconsciously calls out to the person one relies on the most. Sophia won't be here. I didn't expect to live again. I still fell into Jacob's trap. Bang snapped just when I was about to despair. Suddenly came two loud bangs. Subsequently, Mr. Zhang held his head, collapsed on the ground with a scream. Who dares to touch me?" Sophia held the half-broken vase. The veins on her forehead were straight up, seeing me scared to death, almost out of control. She hurriedly took off her jacket, gently draped it over me, then gently comforted me. "Don't be afraid, I'm here." Seeing that it's Sophia, my taut nerves instantly relaxed. Mr. Zhang on the ground is still shouting, "Who are you? Do you know who I am? I'll never let you go. I will never let you go." Sophia's eyes turned cold. She kicked her again. "You are also a human being, holding me when leaving." Sophia looks at Jacob, who was caught by the security guard, coldly ordered, "Throw her in, let her eat her own, dare to count me," simply asking for her own death. Sophia accompanied me to walk quickly to the nearby hospital. The doctor examined and said, "I was drugged, but the dose is small. The effect of the drug will soon pass." I slowly came to my senses, thinking about what just happened. I started to worry about Sophia. Mtks Zhang looks like she has a good background. If Sophia messes with her, her career may be over. If Sophia messes with her, her career may be over. I was worried about her. Sophia smiled and pinched my face. "Don't worry about me. You've known me for so long. You still don't know that the Thompson Group belongs to my family, do you? Maybe the ecstasy hasn't worn off yet. I didn't realize it for a while." Thompson Group. Thompson Group. That's the Thompson Group that's hosting the benefit today. Sophia nodded. "That's why I was there. Luckily, I heard you screaming for help in the hallway. I also found Jacob, who was acting suspiciously. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened." "Wait a minute. I remember your sign to the Thompson Group, right? Then why did you lose the betting agreement? You owe $3 million, and I heard you were going to perform on the streets." Sophia is also hearing this rumor for the first time. She froze, thought about it, immediately understood. My dad really didn't want me to go out on my own, so I made a bet with him. If I could win the competition, I'll continue to pursue my dream of designing. If I lose, I'll have to go back and take over the family business. I'd have to go back and take over the family business. I perform on the streets. It's because a fan who's been supporting me since the competition recognized me. To thank him, I improvised a design on the sidewalk. This rumor is spreading too much. I'm asking, why do you want to live a comfortable life in a rich family? Why do you want to come here to suffer? Sophia looked at me gently and said, "It's all because of you." I was confused. Before joining the program, I don't remember having any contact with her at all. Sophia said, pointing to the hospital elevator, "A year ago, it was in this hospital. The elevator I was riding in suddenly broke down. I have a space phobia. It was you who held me tight, singing softly, gently patting my back. That's what kept my symptoms from getting worse. I recall this incident, so you've liked me since then." Sophia nods solemnly. Moving closer to me, she says, "Yeah, Judge Wang, will you be my boyfriend?" "Don't call me Judge Wang," I said, a little upset. "Let me think about it." Good follow-up on Jacob. It's Sophia who told me. Thanks to Sophia's arrangement, Jacob and Mr. Zhang experienced an unusual night. The next day, Mr. Zhang's husband found them both in bed. Of course, Mr. Zhang wouldn't offend his husband for Jacob. He casually gave him $100,000 and sent him away. The role he promised him before was gone too. Mr. Zhang's husband was furious. He directly exposed Jacob's scandal in the industry. He even lost his job as an assistant. No income. Jacob, in order to live, he could only maneuver between rich women, but he's high-minded. He always wanted to be on top. It didn't take long. He got into trouble with a powerful character. That man directly stripped him naked, threw him out on the street, made him the laughing stock of everyone. Jacob was greatly stimulated. He went crazy. He was sent to a mental hospital not long after. It's probably hard for him to get well in this life. 3 months later, I accepted Sophia's advances. Looking at the ring on my hand, I felt calm. Fortunately, we've been through so much. In the end, we got a good love.